As our first Ashra of Zulhijjah is ending, we are looking at the sacrifices made by Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the other members of this ummah. And we're talking about the sacrifice of the companions and how the spirit of sacrifice actually defines the very nature, the very mizaj, the very upbringing of this ummah. And yesterday we were talking about one very inspirational story of Hazrat Uqba bin Nafi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And we're talking about that he's known as a hero. If you go to Algeria, central Algeria, and the place where the northern mountain ranges flatten out and they meet the fringes, the edges of Sahara, the great Sahara desert, you would find a town by the name of Sidi Uqba. And this is a town which is named after the conqueror of North Africa from Islamic side, and he was Sayyidina Uqba bin Nafi radiyallahu ta'ala. Sidi is for Sayyidi and Uqba is for Uqba bin Nafi radiyallahu ta'ala. So when he was moving westward, he realized, Hazrat Uqba radiyallahu ta'ala realized that these Berbers, the local people, when you raid on them, when you give the message to them, they seem to be obedient, they seem to be subservient, they seem to be listening to the message. But when you turn away from them, they again turn back to their old ways. So he said it's more about staying in them and about teaching them this deen rather than just giving them dawah and just passing by them. So he decided to establish a town there. Now, what is most interesting is that, when the spirit of sacrifice comes back to this ummah, and when the key people, they start making sacrifice for the purpose, for the great purpose that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the agenda, the mandate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this ummah, when we start making sacrifice for that, then Allah's help, Allah's mercy, Allah's nusrat, Allah's madad is inevitable. It has to come. So what happened in this case was then when he selected a place which was a thickly grown forest, and it was infested with lions and wolves and vermin and snakes and scorpions and all those kind of things. So the Muslim contingent found it very hard to cut off that forest and build a town in that place. But this was the ideal location, given that it was inland from the coast and was safe from the Roman raids. At the same time, it had grazing pastures beyond it, so it was a good place to settle. So when Uqba radiyallahu anhu was reported that it's very hard to penetrate this forest because of the animals living there, harmful animals living there, he took Sahaba with him, 12 of them, and he went to the forest and he said, "Do you know who we are? We are the companions of Nabi Kareem, of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are the companions of the last Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we want to establish a place from where we can spread his religion. And I'm giving you a warning that we want all of you, all the lions, the wolves, the vermin, the snakes, the scorpions, to leave this place." And he gave a certain amount of time. And then he said that if any one of you are found here, then we're gonna kill it. So the muhaddithin, the mu'arrikhin, they report that the people around then saw one of the strangest of the sight. They saw that the lion and the wolves, they are carrying their young ones, their offsprings, the snakes, they're carrying their young ones and they're leaving that jungle, that forest in a short span of time. Then he went on, he established a governor house and other such building and when it was time to construct a mosque, it was very difficult to exactly establish the direction of Qibla from then, and the only thing that they had was estimation. So when Uqba bin Nafi radiyallahu anhu, he slept with this fikr of establishing the mosque, of constructing the mosque in the right direction facing towards Qibla, he saw a man in the dream, and he said that next day you go to the masjid and there you would hear a cry of Allahu Akbar, and from the place where you hear this cry would be the direction of the Qibla. So next day, as predicted by the dream, he went to that place. He went to the place where the mosque was going to be constructed, and he clearly heard the sound of Allahu Akbar, chant of Allahu Akbar, and that's how the direction of Qibla was established, and all the other mosques that were established around imitated the direction of this masjid. So such was the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continuously through. And these people, they had a firm belief in the help. Number one, they were compliant with 100% their wishes, their desires, their acts, their manhaj, their own behavior, their own way of life, way of actions, way of thinking, were all aligned with the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they had no qualms, they had no doubt about Allah's mercy and Allah's help. They're very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's as if, they're all the day, all the nights, they're talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seeking His help directly. Istikhara, Salatul Hajra were their norms. Calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help was something that they were so used to that they were always doing it. But again, the biggest source of help was that they were perching their eyes on the greatest objective, the greatest goals that Islam had laid for them. So next thing, we would imagine that Uqba radiallahu anhu would, after establishing this town by the name of Qayrawan, which still exists today in Tunisia and still is a very vibrant town today. If you want, you can visit it. And it has still that antiquity about it. It has the same ambience where you can feel the times that Uqba radiallahu anhu and his companions passed by. Now, one would expect that Uqba radiallahu anhu would now make this as a center of preaching and tabligh and dawah and stay there and would call the tribes around it. But this is not what happened, what actually happened. What happened was that Uqba radiallahu anhu left the command, left the administration of this city, the leadership of this city, to his son, and he continued his journey towards the west of northern Africa, and he did not cease. He did not abandon his mission. He said, well, I want to take this religion, this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the furthest corner of this world. And he went on taking the message, taking the deen, taking the message of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to the furthest corner. And where he met resistance, they fought those people, they fought the Berbers. To a point, he reached the western coast of Africa, in Morocco. And to certain places, where in the Atlas mountain ranges and there's a place called Wadi Sus. Even the Romans had not reached there. So there were some villages of Berbers there. And he took the message to that place, he built a mosque in that place, and he gave the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those people. And eventually there is this very celebrated legendary moment, which we often quote, which our ulama often quote, our books often quote, that when he realized that this is the end of land, and this is where the sea begins, the Atlantic Ocean begins, he took his horse to the height of where it reaches the neck of that horse, and his own, it was reaching his own belly. And there he stopped and he said, "Oh Allah, Ya Allah, had I known, if I could have gone beyond, if there were people beyond, and if the sea had not stopped me, I would have taken your message to the last point on the face of earth. I would have taken your message to the last people living on the corners of earth." But to him, this was the ultimate he could have gone. And again, Uqba radiallahu anhu did not come back and died in his palace. On his way back, on his expeditions where he was again spreading the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he died as a martyr in the year 683 AD. So life of Uqba radiallahu anhu and the life of other companions and tabi'een give us a message. And that message is that they had sold, they had sacrificed whatever they had to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the pleasure of the day when they would meet Him, when they would see Him, when all of us would be resurrected and we'd be presented before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They had sacrificed their desires, even those things which were halal for them, Even those things which were permissible for them, they had sacrificed them, so that everybody, all people, the worldly objective was, or it was again an eternal objective, that all the people living here on the face of earth have achieved eternal salvation. Something that is more articulately captured by Rabi'i bin Amir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was sent by Sa'd bin Abi Waqas radiallahu ta'ala anhu as an emissary, as an ambassador to Rustum, when Muslims were inviting entire Persian Empire, that was then one of the superpowers in addition to the Byzantine Empire. Hazrat Sa'd bin Abi Waqas sent Hazrat Rabi bin Amir to Rustum. And when Hazrat Rabi bin Amir, went to Rustum's court, and when Rustum asked him, "Why have you come?" And at that point in time, Rabi bin Amir articulated why we have come to this life, and why the Muslims, why do they live? What is this thing that they should sacrifice everything around us for that purpose, for that goal, for that achievement? And he said, "We are here. We haven't come. We have been sent to take the humanity, to take the men, to take the people from out of the worship, out of the servitude, out of the slavery of the men like them, of the rulers like them, and take them to the servitude and slavery of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are here, we have been sent to take the people out of the narrowness of the limited, constricted dunya, and take them to the greatness of akhirah, to the boundlessness of akhirah, to the unlimitedness of akhirah. And we are here, we have been sent here to take them out of the tyranny of the exploitation of false religions, and take them to the justice of Islam." So this was the mission, vision, purpose, goal of the lives of the Muslims then. And they used to sacrifice whatever they can for achieving this purpose. And this is what we need to learn today. And we can make the sacrifices in our own ways. Again, if we prioritize and we bring up this great maqsad, this great object that sets our status above all the ummah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared us as khairu ummah, above all insaniya, above the best of all the ummahs. And the reason is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this ala, this great purpose, this ala maqsad. And how can we do more about it, and we can to learn more about the sacrifices that were made by some of other tabqat and the later Muslims. We will conclude our talk tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be inshallah last talk for this series, and we will draw some lessons and look at some of the other Muslims who have excelled, who have mastered this art of sacrificing themselves, sacrificing their desires for this great deen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. I'll be with you tomorrow inshallah the same time. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.